Every time you see that padlock in the browser, TLS is working behind the scenes. In this episode, we pull apart exactly how it locks your connection, proves the server is who it says it is, and does all of that in milliseconds. When you submit a login form over plain HTTP, your username and password travel as raw readable text across every router and cable between you and the server. Your ISP, a coffee shop router, anyone on the same network segment can read those bytes directly. HTTPS wraps that path in encryption, so the data is unreadable to every hop in the middle. A passive eavesdropper sitting on the network path branches into everything flowing past. Over plain HTTP, they read every header, cookie, and body in full. Over HTTPS, they see only scrambled ciphertext and cannot reconstruct the content. Even with HTTPS though, DNS lookups are a separate channel and can still leak which sites you visit, which is why DNS over HTTPS exists. Symmetric encryption uses one key that both sides already possess. The sender feeds plaintext and the key into a cipher like AES and produces ciphertext. The receiver feeds that ciphertext and the identical key into the same cipher and recovers the plaintext. This is extremely fast, but it creates a chicken and egg problem. How do two strangers on the internet agree on that shared key without someone intercepting it? Asymmetric encryption uses a matched pair of keys. The public key is shared openly with anyone who wants it. Anyone can encrypt a message with that public key, but only the holder of the paired private key can decrypt it. The private key never leaves the server. This solves the distribution problem, because you can publish your public key in the open and only you can read what people send back. Asymmetric encryption is mathematically expensive, so it is only used to bootstrap the connection. The two sides use asymmetric operations to agree on a shared secret without ever sending that secret across the wire. Once they share the secret, they switch to a fast symmetric cipher, like AES, for all the actual data. TLS uses this exact pattern, asymmetric to establish, symmetric to communicate. The TLS 1.3 handshake completes in a single round trip. The browser sends a client hello, the server replies with a server hello and its certificate. Both sides independently derive the same session keys from the exchange, and the connection is encrypted from that point forward. No second round trip is needed before application data can begin flowing, which is one of the biggest wins TLS 1.3 delivers over 1.2. The client hello is the browser's opening offer. It fans out across several fields. The list of cipher suites it supports in preference order, the highest TLS version it can handle, an ephemeral public key value for the key exchange, and a server name indication extension telling the server which hostname it wants. The server reads all of this and picks the best options it also supports. The server replies with its ServerHello picking one cipher suite and confirming the TLS version, followed immediately by its certificate chain and its own ephemeral public key value. In TLS 1.3, the server also sends a finished message in this same flight, which is a cryptographic proof that the server possesses the private key matching the certificate. The browser must verify all of this before trusting the connection. An X.509 certificate is a structured document that radiates outward with fields. The subject field names the domain it covers. Embedded inside is the server's public key, which the browser will use in the key exchange. The validity window defines the exact dates the certificate is considered trustworthy. Most critically, a certificate authority's digital signature covers all of those fields, making the whole document tamper-evident. Trust flows in a chain. Your operating system ships with a built-in list of root certificate authorities it trusts unconditionally. Those roots sign intermediate CA certificates, and intermediates sign the leaf certificates handed to individual websites. The browser receives the leaf and intermediate and walks backward up the chain, verifying each signature until it reaches a root it already trusts. If every signature checks out and a root is reached, the certificate is valid. Signature verification is a concrete cryptographic operation. The browser takes the certificate bytes, hashes them with the same algorithm the CA used, then decrypts the CA's signature using the CA's public key to recover the hash the CA computed at signing time. If the two hashes match, nobody altered the certificate after the CA signed it. If they do not match, the browser immediately aborts the connection and shows a warning. Elliptic curve, Diffie-Hellman, ephemeral generates a brand new key pair for every single TLS session and throws it away when the session ends. Both sides exchange their ephemeral public values, and combine them through elliptic curve math to independently arrive at the identical shared secret without that secret ever crossing the wire. Because the keys are ephemeral, recording today's traffic and later stealing the server's long-term private key still cannot decrypt it. The raw shared secret from ECDHE is not used directly as an encryption key. Instead, it feeds into HKDF, a hash-based key derivation function, which mixes it with handshake transcripts and labels to produce multiple distinct keys. The client write key encrypts data flowing from browser to server. The server write key encrypts data flowing the other way. Each direction has its own key and its own nonce counter to prevent replay attacks. A single IP address often hosts dozens of websites. Without server name indication, the server would not know which certificate to present before the TLS handshake completes, because the hostname used to live only in the encrypted HTTP request. SNI solves this by placing the target hostname in the unencrypted client hello. The server reads it, picks the right certificate, and routes the connection to the correct virtual host configuration. A cipher suite name is a compact specification of every algorithm the two sides agree to use together. It expands into three roles. The key exchange algorithm, always ECDHE in TLS 1.3, handles the shared secret negotiation. The bulk cipher, typically AES in GCM mode, handles encrypting the actual data. The hash function underpins integrity checks and key derivation. TLS 1.3 dropped all the older weak suites and permits only 5 modern combinations. Certificates have hard expiry dates. Modern certificates issued by public CAs max out at 398 days, with browsers like Chrome pushing toward 90-day cycles to limit exposure. Separately, a CA can revoke a certificate early if the private key is compromised. Browsers can check a certificate revocation list or query the online certificate status protocol. OCSP stapling lets the server attach a signed freshness token, so browsers do not need to make a separate network call. HTTP strict transport security is a response header a server sends once over a valid HTTPS connection. The browser stores the domain name and an expiry duration. On every subsequent visit, if the user or a link tries plain HTTP, the browser silently upgrades the request to HTTPS before any bytes leave the machine. This prevents downgrade attacks where an attacker tries to strip the S off the front of the URL and intercept a plain connection. TLS 1.2 required 2 full round trips before any application data could flow. One to negotiate capabilities and one to exchange keys and verify the certificate. TLS 1.3 collapses this to a single round trip by having the client send its key share speculatively in the client hello. For returning users, TLS 1.3 also supports zero round trip resumption, where the client can send application data immediately in its very first message, cutting latency dramatically on repeat visits. After a completed TLS session, the server can issue an encrypted session ticket to the browser. The ticket is an opaque blob that lets the server reconstruct the session state without storing anything itself. On the next connection, the browser presents the ticket in its client hello. The server decrypts it, derives keys from the stored material, and the handshake is effectively skipped. In TLS 1.3, the client can even send application data in that first flight for zero added latency. Now that you understand how TLS locks the connection, Episode 5 follows a single HTTP request all the way from the moment you press enter through parsing, routing, processing, and the response journey back to your screen.